Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Ladder Legends replay analysis. Today we have Gammawatt versus a barcode and what he calls a BS PvT. 35 minutes of him camping behind Lib Ghost, and how do we break this siege? Good to see Gamma back in the mix, posting some replays again. I know he's been getting some great advice from Coach Creaser recently. I'm looking forward to see how that's playing out. So, Lib Ghost. What's the most important thing about that unit composition, my boys and girls? It is that it is exceptionally gas heavy, right? So what does that mean? That means that the Terran is on 4 to 5 bases at least to make this kind of composition work, right? So I like that we started the Zealot and that we're going for this. We're trying to make it to where we are losing the least amount of mining time possible, which is nice. Get the cancel. And we go for the Nexus. So the Zealot should start making his way across the map. You don't want to go in the normal path because, oh, you get lucky and he doesn't see it. A better Terran player will see the Zealot and kill it, right? Like, there's nothing you can do to stop them from killing it. So there's something to keep in mind, that whenever you send a Zealot out after a situation like that, like I would maybe send it down the bottom side or just like shift click it a bit to the side of the ramp, anticipating that the Reaper is going to be coming in this path right now. That's a small thing, but back to the theory discussion, okay? So Ghost Lib is an exceptionally gas-heavy composition, so the problems are going to lie in our mid-game with breaking the Terran's eco and not allowing them to get to that level of stature, right? Like 8 to 10 gas for a Terran in PvT means they're way too comfortable most of the time. Why is that? It's because Protoss becomes the aggressor in the late game. Protoss economy scales like crazy, so we need to take as much advantage of that economy scaling as possible. So, chrono boosting our probes, very nice. Second gateway coming down, we have Blink starting. You're also denying his command center from landing, which is very nice. So you're completely denying mining at the moment. Lose the Adept, that's okay, is what it is. Double gateway coming in. So one thing to note is that we see that it's a Cyclone, right? So these gateways are a little bit exposed just in case it is a 2-base push. Like you build this kind of wall for Reaper Hellion, but this guy wasn't playing Reaper Hellion. I was going for a third base, which I like. The third base is about a minute late. This is one of those kinds of games where it's like you've denied for so long. If you cut even another little corner, say forego third gateway because you don't really need it. 2 gates is enough to defend the early base aggression with Blink. You can grab this third base at like 3:45 to 4 minutes, and it would already almost be done right now, right? And what can he do to stop you? He's got a few units, but we're gonna have map control. Now, are we using our Warpins on cooldown? Doesn't look like it. No, so we still only have 2 units, so the early game could be kind of scary for you if we don't make the adequate amount of units yet, right? It's where we're going for all of our extra production. But at this point, it's kind of hurting us, right? There's a lot of early Terran aggression that can happen. This guy's just so happening to play exceptionally defensively, but other Terrans would be getting ready to move out once the Raven tank is ready, right? Your Blink would be done. You'd have 4 to 6 Stalkers here, but still not going to stop Terrans from trying to push across and kill your third base. So just something to keep in mind, that after Blink finishes is a window for Terran to do damage for you guys. It's something for any Protoss player that's watching this, okay? Something that we teach the Terrans here, and this is something that you can use against the Terrans on the ladder, right? Because they're probably doing this subconsciously as well, even if they don't know it, is that the 5 to 7 minute window is a window for Terran to do damage to Protoss, because you are investing in your map control mechanics. You're investing in your Blink. You're investing in your Stalkers. Neither of those things do exceptionally well in a straight-up fight, right? But they give you insane amount of map control and utility, which is why they're important. And then after that, you're investing another 800,000 resources into transitioning into splash damage. So you are tying up a literal ton of resources, 2K, right, into your early game map control and tech, or like splash damage tech transition. So these are the windows that we have to be worried about taking damage from Terran because of that aspect, right? So just something to keep in mind. All right, so 5:41 into the game, we're at 46 probes, so we're down by about 11 workers from where we could be, and not too much has gone on yet, right? Sure, probing. Nice. I would love to see some chrono boost coming down on some probes because we are a bit behind. We should also be adding in either a Robo Bay or a Templar Archives at this point. This is when, like I said, we should be making our tech transition. I would recommend a Robo Bay because Colossus are more reliable in the early game, and after you get 3 Colossus, you transition into Storm. This guy's playing super defensively, though. Third base is very late. He's got double bunker, one in the main. This guy has died to a lot of Protoss, like blink timings and stuff in his life, and you can tell. Observer should be going and scouting how many gas he has, like how many refineries he's on, and how many, like what the amount of barracks that he's hitting with, which in this case it's 3, so it's going to be should be a faster timing, but slightly more potent. However, this guy is playing so defensively that he's shooting himself in the foot. Okay. All right, so we're going for Storm. Storm, fantastic spell, not that reliable, right? So this is why Colossi are usually suggested first before Storm, because they are a sustained form of splash damage. Energy is almost never a sustainable thing, unless it's like super late game and you have a ton of them and there's no ghosts for some reason. So we're 23 out of 16 on this. We're just starting our 4th base. Our 4th base is about 2.5 minutes late. Going for some Zealot Warpins at the bottom. We're adding in a bunch more gateways, which I like the amount of gateways we're adding in. But at this point, we already want to be, honestly, on our 5th and 6th base and nearing max out. Like, your supply is looking nice, but we're lacking core units, like just robo units in general. Colossi, Immortals. I would also love to see a DT Shrine be thrown in. There we go. Double Robo. It's a Robo Bay on the races. Going up to triple Robo. We're taking a 5th base. Okay, now we're starting to get the correct rate of expansion, which I'm very, very happy with. But we could have already been here. We take a 345 3rd base and a 630 4th base. And there's not, like, with the way your games are starting and how much vision you have, there's not that much the Terran can do to stop you, right? Okay, but what are we allowing him to do at the same time? We're allowing him to go up to 4 bases uncontested. Because of how your economy scales, your 4th base is going to be done and fully mining right around the time the Terran is ready to take theirs. And you have an entire base of eco lead, right? So we need to push that eco lead advantage and try our hardest to keep the Terran off of 4th base. You can keep Terran off of 4th base almost indefinitely as long as you're pulling them side to side with like Zealots on one side, like slash Zealots on DTs on one side, Army on the other. Okay, Army gets deflected. Army moves to the other side, goes and attacks the 3rd. Zealots come into the 4th. And you just do that over and over and over and over and over again, right? So just something to keep in mind, that this 4th base should not be able to go up uncontested for Terran, because we don't want to allow them to get to that 8 gas point, right? That's when our Templars start becoming less effective, when things like Ghosts are out on the field. Another thing, good siege breakers are also disruptors, right? Disruptors can outrage siege tanks. Nice, we're going to get in here. We kill some tanks, very good. So, we go for the fight right here. This is a bad fight. Why? Because we have all the surface area up here to do this damage. So, how do we want to do this? After you kill these tanks and you get in here, we probably, like, ideally, you force field a couple times. Bink, bink, bink. 1, 1, 1. Section off the army for the Colossus. Zealots, you right-click, you like box select them, right-click into the mineral line, shift A move. That way they start attacking the SCVs. And then you box select the rest of your army and you start moving towards the right. And then you use the storms to zone. That's how you want to micro this fight, because it forces the Terran to chase your army. You're not fighting into sieged up positions, which these libs are sieged. And you guarantee kill the workers and dislodge the eco position, right? Why can we afford to do this? Because we have so much money in the bank. Instead, we go forward. We spend a lot of our storms that, like, yes, you hit the bio with the big storm. I'm not saying there was a bad storm, but how many storms did we use here, right? We could have gotten the exact same effectiveness with half the storms. Storms are also always more effective while you're running away, because when the Terran's chasing you, right, they either have to go through it, and if they are in it at all, then they also have to pull back, forcing them to take another tick of damage. One other thing that is a mistake here is we don't have a warp prism with the army to warp in. It would, if we were able to warp in another round of 16 zealots right here, this guy is actually just dead. But because we don't have that capability, we dislodge this position and we have to warp in everything at home and wait for it to come across the map. Which, even in this case, I still think we should push on. It's 180 supply, you have a 5,000 bank, and we are deciding to go home, which is not recommended. You're going back home for more splash damage, so I like that aspect of it. You also kept all 3 Colossi alive, so there are good things that you're doing, but what you are allowing him to do is you're giving him time. You're giving the Terran a chance because you're giving him some time. You allowed his entire army to heal up from the storm damage that you did, and he's starting to rebuild. So you're getting in here, and we're gonna go fight this planetary, I'm assuming. Let's get a blink in on these liberators. Nice. And you storm the SCVs. So remember, we use the zoning storms for the army. The Colossus target the SCVs as far as like micro goes. So we just do storm, storm, and then Colossus target this while Stalkers are still targeting the planetary down. If you want to actually dislodge the planetary, you kill this planetary, the game's over. The game is actually just still kind of over. Yes, that was a bad fight for you, but you are so far ahead, it's crazy. Once again, no War Prism here to help us fight. Going for DT Blink, triple Disruptor. All right. We should also be making a transition towards like some air units. That way we can add a few. Even just a Tempest or two. Something to try to bait the Vikings and Libs into storms, right? And baiting him out into Disruptors. So we go in here. We're fighting into 4 Liberators. You are able to get the planetary, though. And with how much money you have, not that bad. He's down to 35 workers, right? We need to keep the pressure on. But yeah, so the game, not game-ending mistakes, but the mistakes that forced this into such a long game already happened, right? Going back after dislodging this position, it was a 1 game. And then not knowing the priority when we fought the planetary down here the first time also stopped a 1 game. So it's hard to want to really go past this point because we're going to be playing a macro game from here, right? But if we just change a couple decisions in the mid/beginning of the late game, you won't be playing these 35-minute games anymore. Thank you for submitting this replay, Gamma. If you have any questions, my man, you know my DMs are always available. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.